In the past 10 years, throughout the world, renewable energy has been growing at a rapid pace. As a response to climate change, renewable energy has become much more relevant since it is efficient, clean, and friendly to the environment. This is the reason why hydroelectric power plants around the world are vital for generating electricity free of pollution or consumption of resources in comparison to electricity that is produced by fossil fuels. Guatemala has acquired international commitments to reduce greenhouse emissions based on the transformation of its electrical matrix in favor of renewables. If this is so, what is happening with hydroelectric power plants in Guatemala? The truth about hydroelectric power plants in Guatemala in 5 minutes. To better understand the situation, we need to go back in time to the early 90s. Back then, the state was in charge of generating electricity for the country. Out of 10 Guatemalans, only 4 had access to electricity. During those years, the model was less efficient, with a high rate of electricity theft. Demand was greater than supply. Daily electricity rationing started, and investment radically declined. Between 1996 and 2001, a major change took place. The government recognized that their current model was non-viable and decided to reform it with a legal framework with clear and concise rules, allowing vast growth in rural electrification. Further on, the Energy Policy 2013-2027 established that 80% of the country's electricity supply should come from renewable resources. And since then, over $5 billion from the private sector have been invested in hydroelectric power plants without the need for government investment. Today, 9 out of 10 Guatemalans have access to electricity. And generation costs have been reduced by over 50% compared to 10 years ago. The electricity bill's cost reduction adds up to $6 billion in savings throughout a 15-year period. Today, many of those advances are being threatened by systemic opposition of hydroelectric power plants by groups seeking to create social conflicts in order to obtain contributions that finance their organizations. They also use methods of confrontation and criminal acts by deceiving the population about good practices of relationship between investors and communities in the areas of influence of hydroelectric generation projects. These actions not only generate instability in the energy sector, but they also try to lead our country to the past. For every 100 megawatts of renewable energy that does not come online, Guatemala loses 1% of GDP benefits for economic agents in a 15-year period. There is an increase of 1.4 million metric tons of carbon emissions during that period of time. Over 68,000 jobs are lost. The state loses over $100 million in tax revenue. On the other hand, we promote permanent dialogue processes in order to reach agreements that will benefit both the communities and the investors. As an association, we also promote the regulation for the consultation of indigenous people accordingly to ILO's 169 Convention. So far, the associates of the Renewable Energy Generators Association, AGER in Spanish, have achieved agreements of mutual benefit with the communities, allowing development of infrastructure projects, scholarship programs, recovery of archaeological sites, health centers, churches and community centers, inclusion and development programs for women, reforestation, nursery gardens, among others. In response to climate change, as a country we have given and engaged in the right actions towards reaching the cherished global development. We need your support to keep our country on the path of clean and sustainable energy for the future of Guatemalans and the world. The truth about hydroelectric power plants in Guatemala in 5 minutes. Presented by AGER.